UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship. We're kicking off game number 3 here between Munster Rugby Gaming Academy and Barrage Academy. Orcs, talk to me about these Orcs. What did we see yesterday from them?
Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about something that a little bit more important than what we saw from them yesterday. It's what we saw from them on Twitter when both the Orgs were having a little bit of a back and forth, some trash talk going between each other. So I just wanted to set the stakes on this game. There's quite a bit of rivalry developed between these two rosters. We've had splits where Phelan, formerly the team that was formerly Munster Rugby Gaming is now, up against Barrage. We've had moments where Barrage has been the sort of dominant force, and we've had moments where Munster Rugby Gaming was the dominant force. And it's sort of setting the standard here. Which one's going to come out ahead? Both of them have had kind of rough starts, being 1-0 down. And it's just gonna be all about who comes out swinging this matchup, who sort of dictates the Twitter banter war is the important thing for me.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously the most important thing is the banter between the teams. It's always fun. I also want to give a big of a shout out to Jakey. It is his birthday today. He's the manager for Munster Rugby Gaming Academy. So happy birthday, baby! Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to get into Champ Select and see what's going to be changed up here. Because obviously, I mean, both of these teams unfortunately did lose yesterday, so it's on them to get their first win on the board.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like the game that Munster had was a lot more crushing. They were dominated by London, and us, for our expectations, we're thinking, okay, London are top dogs. This is expected, but London ended up dropping to Envision today, so there's two sides to that coin. Are Envision a really strong team, potentially? Or is it more of a thing that London aren't as good as we thought they were? Or maybe they just had an off day. But ultimately, Munster got crushed. And Barrage at least put up a fight. And they were also against a strong side, Enclave. I think just based on the performances yesterday, looking more in the game as on top of as well the results, I feel like Barrage had a better performance. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of talent on both of these rosters. A lot of players who are showing their first time in the UKLC, whereas some of them are more known names like Diva, KDO, Akkers have played in the UKLC before. But I think they may not be the ones who dictate the game, and maybe these more rookie players. And I think in particularly the jungle matchup between Afro Boy and No Name, I think that will be the pivotal matchup of this game.
Yeah, Jungle is going to be a really, really interesting one for me to track. I feel like Jungle is one of the pools where there's still a fair amount open. I mean, that and I guess mid, where it seems to be the most flexible ones. I mean, I'm curious to see how this Jungle matchup is going to go, because I haven't seen much of the Graves get through, and a lot of the junglers have put a lot of priority onto that Graves. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see it, but we did see it in the promo relegation section, not the promo relegation, sorry, the qualification section of the show.
It feels like so far today we've kind of had a sort of aggressive versus more defensive jungler sort of style of play, where one is playing a jungler who wants to impact the game more early, and we've seen Kindred, who obviously, as much as he does want to make those stacks earlier, often he's been paired up with the Aphelios just to sort of act as that buffer for him so he can't get blown up. At the moment, I'm feeling like the blue side is really being favored quite a bit right now, just on the fact you can first pick that Aphelios. He is the best champion to pair up the Lulu, and it kind of eliminates a lot of options for the team, especially if they end up picking up the Kindred on top of that. You end up just having this invincible war machine who can just decimate your team after a certain point. And despite the fact we saw it lose last game, we saw how close it was to Jacob really bringing that game back onto his shoulders. So I think that's my concern, is that if you let the Aphelios open, it'll be a problem. And you may be thinking, well, just ban the Aphelios, but there's a lot of champions at the moment that are extremely powerful you have to warrant bans for. The likes of the Graves, the likes of the Syndra, the Varus as well, all really problematic. And throwing an Aphelios ban doesn't necessarily get you out of a difficult situation.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we do have a quick issue, so we are just going to have to sort that out regarding Champ Select. Once we've got that done, we'll be getting into Champ Select. So for the meantime, we are going to cut to a quick break, and we'll be back with Champ Select for our third game of the day after this break. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKLC. Got caught off guard there a little bit. All the issues are ironed out. We're ready to get going into our match of the day, our third match of the day, which would be Munster Rugby Gaming Academy versus Bulldogs. We've loaded through into the Champ Select already. We've seen the Fresh and the Lee Sin banned away.
So prioritizing those sort of high-profile picks, the Thresh in particular, something really powerful as a tool in the support role. The Lee Sin more specific, targeted towards No Name, who has been a pretty proficient jungler so far in his history as a player. And Lee Sin, a big pick afforded to him. Varus and Trundle, more of those just standard power picks we've been talking a lot about. The question is going to be, will we see an Aphelios ban coming out from the red side of Barrage? Callista taken away. I feel like you kind of have to, because it limits your answers in this situation. Although the question would be, if you do ban away the Aphelios, maybe the enemy team takes Ezreal Yuumi. Maybe you're more concerned about that. That's the sort of situation you're stuck in. And instead, they opt for the Syndra, so we may end up just seeing that first pick Aphelios once again coming through.
All right, well, I talked about it actually before our little break, and the Graves is left open, so it is first picked here by Munster. This does give over the Ornn over to the side of Barrage, and what is normally the answer to this Graves is the Aphelios gets locked in.
Well, Trundle's actually not too bad into the Graves, but honestly, the skirmishing power of this champion is so powerful. There's not too many great champs. I think Olaf can do a decent job if you can get some momentum going early and go for some aggressive invades, but ultimately this champion is going to scale well. It's going to be hard to deal with. Strong in skirmishes and has some ability from the phase rush. Kind of caught me off guard there, the Graves being open, because we're just so used to seeing it banned, but a powerful tool for No Name, which, considering they targeted a ban away from this jungler, and he's still getting the strongest jungler in the game right now, it's a bit rough to see. Set going to be another follow-up, and a lot of power picks have kind of slipped through the cracks at this point.
All right, well, what are they going to pick up? Obviously, the Trundle banned away. Maybe they do go for that Olaf if they want to have some kind of skirmishing capabilities, or they could look somewhere else. Top lane locked in for the set. The Cassiopeia locked in as well. And I say top lane locked in for the set. Yeah. It is technically flexible. We have pretty much, actually, we've only exclusively seen it as a top laner in the UKLC so far. We haven't seen it go bot lane. But technically, this Cassiopeia is also pretty flexible. The Lulu locked in for the bot lane, most likely to be paired up with that Aphelios.
Seeing a lot more of a priority towards the top side of the map for Munster, and obviously Barrage looking towards that AD carry role once again that we've seen, able to carry many teams with the power of this Aphelios and this Lulu, and now they're going to be able to ban away these AD carries. Now, it could actually be a Cassiopeia bot lane, in which case these bans wouldn't get too much value. There is that flexibility afforded to Munster that Barrage do not have. You can put the set mid, you can put the set in the bot lane, you can put the set top lane, and the Cassiopeia can essentially go in 3 roles herself. So a little bit of wiggle room there, but Munster just going to start to cut through these junglers that are still available for Afroboy. I said this matchup would be important. You've now given No Name, as I said, one of the strongest junglers in the game, and Afroboy might end up being in a little bit of a tricky situation after all the bans come through.
Alrighty, well, what is going to be the final ban here for the side of Barrage? They're going to pin away more of those AD carries, you'd assume. Callista, the Misfortune, the Varus all taken away. Final ban will actually be the Yuumi, so expect probably to see the Ezreal actually hit up for Blue Spirits here if you would like to go for that. Obviously won't have that Yuumi to go on side with him, so we'll have to see what they want to go for. Final ban for the side of Munster.
The taste of
they're going to ban away the Nidalee from Afro Boy, so this could actually be set. Oh no, they've got the Graves. Sorry, they've got the Graves. So just banning away things, but you know they don't want to really be going up versus for No Name.
Yeah, stuff that can potentially challenge him in the early levels, make some problems for him. The question is going to be, what will Afro Boy take here? Likely going to see jungler come out, although they could delay it, pick up a mid instead. And looks like they're going to do that. They're going to take the Zoe, so has that good blind pick potential, offers that early pressure. Not the most damage, but you have an Aphelios, so you're kind of covered in that department. And now for Munster, we get to see where the flexes go. They could just lock in a bot lane here. They could put this set top and the Cassiopeia mid. There is potential to shake things up, though, but it seems like they do lock in this Nautilus. It will be very much just picking up that bot lane.
Alrighty, now. Nautilus locked in here. Question is what are they going to pair with it? They could use that Cassiopeia if they'd like. Could send that potentially bot lane if they want to go for. We'll have to see what they want to pick up, though. At the moment, taking time to think about what they're going to pick up. Munster going to round out their comp. The Orianna gets picked up for Diva, so it will be the Cassiopeia going in the bot lane. And now, It is over for a jungler for the side of Barrage.
One of the strengths of the Graves as well is you have a lot of AD coming out of the jungle, and with the set in the top lane as well, it means you're able to go this AP bot laner. Two champions that really make Aphelios' life difficult. If you get in short range compared to these, you can just get CC'd, you can get bursted through. We'll see the Jarvan come out for Afterboy. It's sort of one of those higher tier junglers that is sort of left over, but not the best matchup into the Graves due to the fact that you can just dash away from your flag and drag combo. Gets a lot of armor from that True Grit passive, so difficult to deal with. I feel like Munster have gone for a good adaptation. They let the Aphelios go through, but they have had tools to deal with it. And honestly, I'm liking their comp quite a bit. Now, for Barrage, it really comes down to whether KDO can have the game of his life. He's going to dictate this one.
All right, well, the comps are rounded out. Orcs, talk to me a little bit about who you're favoring and why. I'm really liking the double mages for Munster Rugby personally. Talk to me. What kind of caught your eye here so far?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think it's a good adaptation. I think that typically the Aphelios and the Lulu just wants to get through laning phase untouched, but the Cassiopeia, sort of at level 6, you can definitely challenge that when you have a bit more mana available from the items and a lot of CC afforded, but it just makes life a little bit difficult for the Aphelios to play with all these champions that are so threatening at short range. If you get in range of a Set, Cassiopeia, and Orianna, Nautilus, all of these can make your life extremely difficult. And the critical thing here is there is no Kindred. There is no safety net to say, okay, well, you're not going to die yet. There is no option like that. The Lulu can do as much as she can, but there is enough damage afforded that is going to be able to cut through. So personally, for me, I'm favoring the lineup of Munster in this draft, but there's definitely always tools to win a game, especially when you're looking at Aphelios. You can never rule that champion out just because of the raw potential afforded to it.
It's actually the unsealed spellbooks for both of the mid laners here as well, which is quite exciting because, sometimes you see the electrocute on the Zoe. Typically you see the electrocute on the Zoe, but the unsealed spellbook means there's a bit more flexibility. Obviously, the cooldown reduced on those summoner spells as well, which is nice for the spell thief on Zoe. D.Va obviously wants the ability to move in between the lanes, but also have the ability to take that ghost or things he wants to run through later. As we will be loading through into the game in a second, but for the moment, we have a little bit more time to have a bit of a talk about what we're looking at. We've seen the Ornn and Set so many times, so it's almost kind of a point that we don't need to talk about. Akers obviously offers a lot in the team fight stages, and obviously post level 14 when the ornaments start to get handed out.
What I will say is that we saw a Set vs Ornn matchup go heavily in favor of the Set earlier today. So as much as we may not have an opportunity to talk about it because sometimes it can be quite quiet, the Set definitely can establish dominance in that lane matchup if there's a skill discrepancy. We saw it happen earlier. We could see it again today. Just comes down to sort of who's getting jungle assistance, and in particular, whether the Set can find the windows to really punish. I'll have to see how things pan out.
Yeah, I'm just doing a quick rundown of all the summoner spells we got just to make sure that there's nothing kind of overly exciting there. Alpaca's gone for the Guardian instead of maybe like the Ares. He's not really looking for lane poke, but again, if you step up as a Lulu, you get miasmed and then you get hooked. So the Guardian makes sense. He kind of wants to be standing on KDO. And for me, it's for Barrage, I think they want to slow down. I think they want to wait until kind of mid-game to kind of take off here. You've got, obviously, the Zoe is going to offer you a lot of poke as the game goes later and later. And we saw last game, even though they lost, we saw last game how strong the Aphelios and the Lulu is combined. If it wasn't for Rifty just being so fed, that game really could have been on Jacob's back. So I'm interested to see how this is going to go down in the bot lane. Because, like you said, there's a lot of pressure that this Cassiopeia and that this Nautilus are going to be able to offer into this lane.
And I think for me, it's going to take a little bit of time for the Cassiopeia to ramp up. One of the big issues with her in the bot lane is that she just didn't have the mana, especially when there's potentially 2 health bars to cut through. So once she gets it back, once she has potentially a tier or a lost chapter to work with, maybe an extra Doran's ring or a dark seal, that's when you can really start to look to threaten. But for me, for the most part, as much as Barrage Academy have the scaling top lane and the scaling bot lane, the mid jungle is where this composition comes alive in the early stages. Jarvan can impact the game as early as level 2. Zoe is obviously a threat in lane, and if you establish control of mid lane, she is super threatening. What I would like to see is them look to pressure D.Va on this Orianna. The 2v2 is okay as long as you don't overcommit onto the Orianna. If you kill Orianna quickly, great. You can clean up. if you try and chase down the Orion after she flashes, that's when Graves can potentially come in to clean things up if he's ignored. So the burst potential of this Jarvan Zoe, if they land some of the CC, is big, and I'm looking to see them capitalize on that, put pressure on D.Va, establish control over the mid lane, and then translate that pressure outwards, potentially shut down DBL, or even more importantly, get a lead onto KDO in that bot lane.
Alrighty, well, we're loading through onto our third game of the day. It's Munster Rugby Gaming Academy taking on Barrage Academy. These two teams going toe-to-toe. One loss apiece under their belt. They need to find these wins.
You know, you nearly missed it there. And you know what you were nearly saying?
What?
You remember the Munster
Raving Looney Party? I'm fairly certain that's what was going through my mind as I said it as well.
I'm pretty sure. That's what I heard. Picked up in the end, though.
All right, well, seeming as it is Jakey's birthday, who is the manager for the main team over on the NLC, I'm going to ask you a birthday question after Akers hopefully escapes.
You can ask me if it's my birthday, because it isn't.
No, I'm aware that it's not your birthday. What is the best birthday present you've had? You know, like something you haven't asked for, but someone's given to you, and it's just a good present.
I don't know. That's tough, man. It's hard to remember all your birthday presents.
You can't think of one, like, good present.
That's the thing, because to me, the greatest presents are the ones that just slip so seamlessly into your life, you can't even remember you not having them. You're like, how did I exist without this? How did I even function? It's a vital part of my existence now. I don't know. Well, I'm drawing a blank. How about you? What's yours?
I actually got some metal D&D dice. I know it's like something small. It doesn't have to be anything big. I didn't know I was getting them from my girlfriend. They were really cool. I still use them today. It's just something small and silly, but, you know, those are the best kind of presents.
I guess I'm just an awful person. I don't remember. I'm just the worst. Well,
honestly, with that attitude, you'll be lucky anyone coming to your birthday party.
I don't think anyone's going to get you a present now. They're like, well, he doesn't even remember it, so what's the point?
Do you know how you get presents? Like, the easiest way to get presents?
I mean, I'm actually pretty good at buying presents.
I'm awful at buying presents. I'm so bad at it. But the best way if you want to get presents is have a birthday at soft play. Everyone wants to go to soft play, so they're super grateful. So if they go buy your present, they think they get invited back to soft play again. Nothing?
I don't know what soft play is.
It's like the
It's like those things you went to as a kid. Like
yeah,
when
they
you
do adult ones with alcohol and stuff, and you know, the bull pits and stuff. It sounds like a horrible mix, actually.
That sounds.
It's a really horrible mix. Drunk people in soft play,
especially in Britain as well. I'm hoping it was a private sort of affair with just like people you invited.
No, they're literally open.
Like, so it's just like you went to one and you brought, and there's just like loads of random people getting drunk in a in like a ball pit.
I've never been to one personally, but I know they exist. Let's have a gank here in the top lane. Hook does land onto Lulu, into the blind, into the slow. The ignite's down, and first blood easily picked up for no name.
Great play, but unfortunately wasn't in the top lane. That's the bot lane.
You know, I'm drunk on soft play booze right now, so.
All right, calm down.
You gotta land that auto. Blue Spirits is actually really low here. Minions are doing some damage, and Blue Spirits just about to get out. That was I'd say, an optimistic flash.
Yeah, it was it's a zoning flash, you know. Just force them away, we'll say. That's the angle I'm going for. Just so Jeffrey can save face in the situation. But ultimately, good gank from No Name. Oh, that comes in.
Yeah, not going to get too much, though. Akers, he's okay to make his way out. We'll have to be a little careful. Just going to throw the Bellows Breath down onto DBL.
Has to sustain from those biscuits, but obviously Set just has built-in sustain because why not? But it's good to see, and if you look at Cassiopeia's items, a lot of mana afforded now, so the base damages on Cassiopeia are pretty significant. It's just a matter of having the mana pool to back it up. And all in happens now, there is the potential to get a kill quite favorably, especially with Alpaca not having his flash available, is a little bit of a liability in this bot lane.
Look, the dragon spawning up fairly soon. Doesn't really look at the moment like either jungler's going to go for it yet. It is a Cloud Drake, so not the most impactful one. Does mean that it's not going to be a Cloud Soul, which most players are probably going to be fairly happy with. Especially Akka's. Cloud Soul on Ornn kind of feels kind of useless because you ult and then you have to run around backwards and forwards for a little bit.
I mean, it helps you close the gap because you can ult, then you can run up, then follow up.
True, yeah, actually.
Plus, like, just having a Cloud Drake is really nice for Ornn because his ult cooldown actually gets so low in the later stages. And even lower is definitely not a complaint. Garvin slipping into this bot lane. I think Jeppe might look for something here.
Yeah, Jeppe. He's itching for that hook, but this could just cost him his life. Afro Boy knows he's not been seen, and Munster are potentially playing with fire here. They do back away and head towards their mid and jungle.
Yeah, they play safe, so smart move there. Didn't have the information. They know the jungler's on the dragon. They shove in, pick up the dragon, and they're just happy to walk away now. They didn't shove the lane in towards bot lane. They did have priority.
Is just waiting this out.
This is a very early swap. This is a very, very early swap. You could punish this really hard. You could just hard push the lane and get a couple of plates for free, then match the swap for 8 minutes. Because it's 8 minutes when the Herald spawns, and they're already heading to the top lane. They're now actually freezing. I don't agree with this at all, unless you're planning to stack the wave. Then it makes sense in that regard, but I feel like you could have already taken a plate or two. And if they are planning to do this, I want to see Jarvan come bot lane now. I don't think you really care enough about your red buff.
He's
They're
pinging
just
the
recalling.
blue buff, so...
Nah, I don't like this. I think Munster made a mistake here. They swapped too early. And I think it should have been punished by Barrage. I think they should have just pushed bot lane, taken a couple of plates, then reset. Then they go top lane. They go and defend the Herald with a 2-plate advantage. That would have been the correct play, in my opinion.
Yeah, Blue Spirits goes, gets his tier, goes, catches this wave for free as well. And nothing really gained for the side of Barrage. As they are going to be spotted out on this ward, but they now have priority in this part of the map. So actually it looks like Diva's going to start at the red buff. This is just a full clear. And now Jeppe may just be looking for the hook onto KDO. Catches him out in the meows with the poison's already ticking him down. The ignite and the poison should be enough. Jeppe finds the kill. In comes the call of the Forge God though. Akka's is trying to turn this one back around. Already Munster have found 2 quick kills. DBL gets the shield off and Akka's now stuck between a rock and a hard place. The shockwave comes down. The bubble connects onto the Cassiopeia, but Wojux cannot close that gap. Munster find themselves a clean fight in the top lane.
Great team fight from them. They punished KDO for being out of position. Barrage decided to match the swap. They get punished for it, and now they've ended up losing 3 kills over to the side of Munster in that situation. Not a great look. And the end result is KDO's heading back down the bot lane. What was the point of the swap then?
Wait. I mean, they're sending their support out.
No, I'm talking about Barrage. Why did they swap to top lane? And now
I think they swapped,
back?
lost the fight, and went, yeah, nah, we're out. We don't want to fight that. So they're just going to try and get some plates onto KDO. He doesn't have that lethal combination of weapons at the moment. I don't think he's going to get it. DBL should be able to hold this wave. He may lose a couple of plates.
They really,
but it's not going to be as catastrophic as it was last time.
I cannot highlight this enough. They have missed a huge opportunity where if they just stayed bot, they wouldn't have made that bad fight in the top lane. This tower could be down to maybe 1 or 2 plates at this point, and they would have been able to get the first tower while Munster go for the Herald. Or at bare minimum, they would have at least traded towers, which you're fine with when you have an Aphelios. I just don't agree with the play, and I think it's ended up costing them. However, Munster, they've capitalized. You don't punish their mistake, they'll just keep on forcing, and now they're going to use the Herald on the top side, and they by all means will be getting the first tower in this situation. It's like Barrage potentially threatening a dive, but realistically, hard on a set.
Oh! Fail by the showstopper from DBL. He has to flash to get out of the Cataclysm. That dive Means the minion wave's going to die out, the Riftail's going to get summoned, and they are still going to pick some plates up in this bot lane, but it does look like they're pretty happy holding for the moment. As charge comes down, looks like Blue Spirits is actually going to get funneled all of the gold. Nope. Not quite close enough, and again, KDO still doesn't quite have that key weapon combination.
Oh, it
To
actually
cut down the towers. He switched out his white gun for his red gun. That is so sad.
Yeah, that's really tragic.
Second charge is coming down.
Shove, yeah.
Afro Boy may just get dove here. Call of the Forge God's going to be used as they look for the support. They do catch him, but that's just an ult for nothing.
They just CC him, and now DBL's going to head bot lane. They've just seen Afro Boy, so here's the critical thing here. Jarvan showed top lane. They now know it's only 2 members. DBL can play aggressive. You're not dying here. Just play the wave, go aggressive. You're not getting dived. And it means they are going to get one more plate here, and that is it. They don't get the tower. We're going to see the swap back towards the bot side, and Barrage have really missed out in this turn of play.
Yeah, it feels like Barrage just kind of a little bit too slow on the punch for a lot of these plays. Drake spawning up as well, 25 seconds, and they're going for their reset. Barrage just miles behind Munster in this game so far. 10 minutes on the clock. The gold lead closing in on that 3K mark. And you got the Ceres finished up onto Blue Spirits. Diva's going for the Ludens build, which is not the tier build we've actually started to see a rise in Oriana's recently. Kind of just wanting that early spike in damage as quick as possible. Afro Boy maybe looking for something onto DBL. DBL does have the ultimate and no flash available, so they're going to look for that Cataclysm. There is a collapse coming in from the rest of the team, so it's a little risky to go for. The Mountain Drake gets picked up, and now Jeppe may just look for a dive onto KDO. DBL could go in here if he wants to. Decides to peel away, and we are looking at an Infernal Soul in this game.
A lot of burst damage. Again, problematic if you're trying to keep that Aphelios alive if Munster can get the hands of it. Right now, they're just focused on getting more and more plates. Diva's going to be establishing some control of mid lane, picking up another one there. The gold lead now 3,000 in favor for Irish side, and looking a little bit rough for Barrage. They still have that scaling element. We still have the Aphelios to come in later, but they've kind of made a little bit of a mess of this early game, thanks to some good play from Munster and that unpunished mistake. It's just going to be a case of them stalling out and clawing back the difference. But right now, Wave pushed in mid, Wave pushed in bot. Munster trying to contest them in the jungle. They could be in trouble. Where's Wojak? Wojak flashes away. Getting corralled in. And if you think how deep in his own jungle he was, that kind of hurts to be punished that heavily. But now Jeppe, got to be a little bit careful. That was an interesting interaction. Fortunately, if you connect the hook against the wall and the Cataclysm comes down after, you still pull yourself into the wall. Ultimately, you're the one who's going to get to safety. Now we see Blue Spirits just shoving the wave as slowly as possible, trying to keep it frozen a little bit and just deny as much as he can from KDO in this situation.
Yep, gonna be able to shove this wave in with the help of No Name. Plates will be falling off soon, so they should be able to get maybe 1 or 2 plates if they're lucky. Looks like Wojak is gonna bomb towards there with that ghost. He takes out the last of it. Looks like we're just going to get the resets coming in for the moment, though. Spend that gold for the side of Munster. They got a while until they need to worry about any dragons. You can see that the Rift Herald, I believe, has actually been started by No Name at this point. Nope, he's just doing the crab.
Getting set up for it, though. When it does spawn, he is in position to just instantly start on that objective. You can see they move the bot lane over and position. And Barrage not winning the match once again. They're leaving the bot lane there.
KDO building towards the Infinity Edge, but not quite there at the moment. As Afro Boy once again is looking to make a play happen onto DBL. The rest of the team, they don't care. They're willing to give up this tower. They just want to take another tower in response. They're trading out, and the mid lane tier 1, like you said earlier on in the day, really decides the pace of the game if you can take that down. And DBL still doing a pretty good job to hold it. It will finally fall. He doesn't want to stick around. He knows Afro Boy's about. But the Rift Elf spawning up soon. Nobody is really set up from Barrage Academy to deal with that objective.
Solid start, and it's sort of momentum you want to have in a game like this. You don't want to give any opportunity for scaling to kick in. Herald's going to be started up and pretty easily taken. It's just allowing them to just keep rotating through.
Great pace here by Munster in this game. Playing pretty controlled and nice. DBL's just going to get some free time on this turret. It's going to chip this away. I don't know if he's going to be able to take it with KDO making his way down, although he's able to do a lot more damage than I expected. He's going to have to peel away now, though.
Minions do run out, so he's not able to take it down, but now this bot lane tower kind of a little bit isolated in this situation. A vulnerable target with tier 1 down mid and top. Now moving towards this dragon, though. This will be the third for Munster. This is typically when teams want to contest. They don't want to let a team get to soul point, because when they're one away, every dragon from then on out is a massive win condition for one team and not the other. So both teams posturing for this one. I expect a team fight. DBL has TP, and if you look in the blue side jungle of Barrage, you can see there's a ward. Just a little bit higher than where the observer's looking.
Just a wee bit. There it is.
There's a ward there that you can potentially use for a flank. So I'm going to throw it on the Herald in the mid lane.
Yep, Call of the Forge Squad's coming in. Teleport onto a different ward in the meantime. Cataclysm onto Jeppe. Jeppe goes golden. DBL looks to jump in. He's caught Claudio in with the showstopper. Taken out by the Wild Growth, though. Throws out the Haymaker for the moment. The turret's been placed down, and DBL now has to flash out of the fight for the moment. Akkers is in the middle of everybody as a collateral damage comes from downtown. Double kill picked up onto the grave as they're looking for more. A double kill for the Snake Lady. Shockwave is going to be negated as KDO takes out D.Va in time. But the charge lands onto the turret, and they may just look to push for more. KDO is just too low. One hook would seal his deal, would seal his fate here. So yet another charge comes down, and that will be an inhibitor turret falling. They may not get the last charge out onto the inhibitor, but 17 minutes onto the clock, and Munster have cracked the base.
They crushed that team fight. It just felt like there wasn't really any agency for Barrage. They chose to initiate. They end up targeting everything on Jeppe, who had a great stopwatch in that situation. And it was just really a rough look. D.Va does overstep at the end with a shockwave just as he was dying. But ultimately, Munster win the fight. They get 2 towers down in this mid lane. Although, because they stayed for so long, they will end up sacrificing the dragon. A silver lining for Barrage, but still not a good situation for them to be in.
That was a speedy Zoe. You don't want to be dealing with that. So they're just going to peace out from there for the moment. But overall, I think they're pretty happy. If I was Munster, I'd be okay giving up an Infernal Drake for 2 turrets and an open inhibitor and a massive team fight. So fantastic stuff for them. Let's have a little look at the gold differences between our teams, though, because you can just see it has been constantly in favor of Munster throughout this entire game.
Absolutely, and you've seen a big spike when they get a big influx of gold down to those team fights, but it's just Munster growing the lead. And I think the critical thing is if you keep your gold lead level, it's worth less over time. Because as the game goes longer, as there's more gold available, it means that the difference isn't as valuable. A 3,000 gold lead between 80 carries at, 10 minutes in the game is game-changing. But when it's, 35 minutes in the game, it's not as impactful. And that's why you need to keep growing it. And Munster has been able to do that. Now at 6,000, but Engage coming in.
D.Va goes for the sombrero. The flag and drag out of there. Now Packer makes D.Va sit down, finds himself the kill. Great pick for Barrage, considering how dire the last few minutes of this game have started to be for them. But DBL, he's going to lose his mid, and he's just going to start to punch this tower down.
They get a pick on a D.Va, and a little slip-up there from the mid laner of Munster, but it comes at a price. You end up losing this bot lane tier 2. The last tower left outside the base is that top lane tower, which has already been chunked out by the first Herald, so not really in a great situation right now. Baron going to be spawning in 30 seconds, so it's a perfect setup for Munster to put their members on the top side of the map and start to lean towards this one standing tower and also towards that Baron. They already have a decent vision set up. KDO's going to push this wave up, but can't really do too much else.
Devious going to pick his blue buff up for the moment. So his attention is currently sitting. Baron Nashor spawning up in 20 seconds time. Actually, sorry, 4 seconds time. I can't count. And with a 6,400 gold lead over to the side of Munster, with the Cassiopeia with the Leandries, they actually can do this quicker than you'd expect. Yeah, considering they're lacking an AD carry.
As well, when you look at the team fighting potential, you have the Sork Shoes, the Oblivion Orb, and the Ludens for the Orianna. That is just such a huge damage spike. It's a sort of pop damage spike where you hit it on a squishy member, and the shockwave into the distance can be enough just to blow up a squishy member in that one combo. Really scary to deal with at this point in the game, especially as Orianna's level 13. She's got 2 points in her ultimate. She's maxed out a Q. She's maxed out a W. That damage is really going to sting. So if Barrage do want to step up and try and contest his vision, contest his Baron, they may end up face checking in something really difficult.
Barrage, you can see are terrified to move into their own jungle as it is just lit up blue. I'd love to see a quick toggle on the vision just so we can see how little Barrage can see right now. They can't see beyond their red buff. They can't even see where their red buff would be. That's how much control Munster have been able to get for themselves. Now, these wards have started to time out and die out. Barrage have done a good job to slowly eke their way forward into this area, but it's been slow, it's been steady. No name. Looking to find something onto Wojaks, but the shield from the Lulu's pretty big at this point. It's going to be hard to deal with that for the moment. Now, it looks like the resets are coming down for the side of Munster. Starting to spend that gold, finish up some more items. Fiendish Codex and the Blasting Wand was picked up by Blue Spirits. He then sold the Fiendish Codex and got himself an Amptone and a ward instead.
So enough for this dragon now. We do see potentially Barrage contesting some of this vision around Baron. Munster can't completely let go. Because again, Aphelios is super fast at taking this objective.
He didn't have the prime weapon combo, but he did still have the chakras. No Name's just going to do the dragon on his own. DBL is on that flank, and KDO thought about doing the Baron. It's going to take a bit of damage from those auto attacks as Call of the Forge God's been thrown down. This is Barrage's time to fight. Everybody on Munster split out. The miasma goes very, very wide. Dragon gets picked up, and there's no follow-up to that Call of the Forge God. And now, maybe for the side of Munster they want to chase, but looks like they're just going to step away for the moment. No flank coming in from Set.
I just love the nerve from Munster there. They just completely held it. Weren't concerned. Didn't call for the TP to come in there from the Set. Let him keep pushing. He takes the tower. The Graves finishes off the Dragon. They group up mid. Now these big team fighting tools and that Ornal not available, but Engage coming in.
Cataclysm onto Blue Spirits already instantly taken out. He gets himself the kill. That's the Pet Miasma thrown down to Wojaks. The collateral damage goes a little bit wide. Wojaks bleeding out to some of that poison, but not going to fall yet. Moonlight Vigil goes wide from KDO. They find themselves a big old knock-up onto Blue Spirits. He is starting to get chunked out a little bit here, but the Showstopper's thrown down by DBL. Yet another kill picked up for the side of Munster. They are just too far ahead, and they're just running away with these team fights. Wojaks lands a bubble, but misses out on the Paddle Star, and the turrets are melting. 23 minutes on the clock. Make it 24. It looks like Barrage's chances in this game are just done. They find themselves one last hook. They're looking to kind of pad those stats a little bit more. This game is going to Munster.
Honestly, a crushing victory in Munster. They just completely maintain their lead, completely maintain their control throughout the game. There was a moment where a mistake came in. I talked about it. It was around the swap. It was an early swap. It was punishable. Barrage didn't punish it. They matched the swap. They lost that team fight. And from then on, they just never had any momentum in this game. And I think that just sort of shows how impactful those moments can be. One wrong decision can really cost you. And Munster won't, as much as they did make that mistake, they won't give you another opportunity. You have to take those to challenge them. After that, it's just clean cut. We're going to take the lead. And credit to them, they did deliver a strong performance and won't end their week in a 0-2 position. They managed to get the 1-1, and all that trash talk on Twitter, it looks like it paid off for them.
Yeah, with that, Munster were able to get their win. Now, we're going to cut to a quick break, and we will be back with an interview coming up after that break. So we'll see you in a second. Don't go anywhere. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. Now, we actually have ourselves an interview with the support for the side of Munster is Yepehu. Did I pronounce that right? We had a little discussion. How do we say your name?
I mean, it's kind of hard for English people to just read it out, but on Danish, it's Yepehu.
Yepehu, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we may stick to Jeppe just because it's easier to say for us.
I'm used to it. Like,
how do you feel coming in for that win then, buddy? After
I feel
losing
amazing.
your first game.
I feel really amazing. I feel that first game that we played, we didn't really show how much we actually like can play our own game and like just steamroll our opponent. And I feel like in this game we just played our game, got our champions, and we just steamrolled our opponent.
So we saw a little bit of trash talk coming out between Munster and Barrage on Twitter. How did it feel to have this match, sort of like a grudge match, and put them in the dirt after all that?
It's always amazing, isn't it? Especially like our pre-game, like the Champions League where we wait for the game to start. Our jungler is always trying to trash talk the opponent and get in the head, and I guess he did it this time.
Playing those mental games. Now, you're obviously on the academy team for Munster. What's it like being in that academy team? How's it fair? Because playing on other teams where you're not playing on the academy team, but you've got obviously this very stacked roster in the NLC, and obviously for you the growth is move up into the NLC. What's it like kind of having this kind of other team to work with and play alongside with? How's that experience fared for you so far?
It's amazing. Like I've had some talks with FIFA and our sub support here on the team, Barrage, and yeah, you learn so much from the main team. They have a really unique playstyle, or not unique, but like I'm not gonna spoil a lot, but they give us the option to watch their scrims, and we can learn a lot. And sometimes we even like warm up against them. and we of course get hard clapped, but it shows us of how good of a team you can become if you really like start getting the pieces together.
So next game up is going to be M&M against Enclave. These two teams, but one of them's going to go through undefeated for week 1, and I think a lot of people have had sort of a lot of tier lists come out giving mixed opinions on the UKLC. For you, who's your sort of team to beat? Which team do you really want to take down?
I mean, my old teammates Chimera and Beartree on London. That's the team to beat, and we already lost our first game to them. So I feel like our team in London is gonna be the 2 top contenders, and I think it'll be hard to beat them for the other teams because they're really good.
Pretty bold stuff. I mean, Envision beat them earlier today, to be fair. So do you feel them as a threat, or was that a fluke for you?
I think there was just like a little leg from Golden God and Chimera's side, and maybe even Beartree. I think they will get back and be even stronger.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your win, Jeppe. Good luck with your games next week. That does put you 1-1 on the week. Now, guys, we're going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back with our 4th and final game of the day. It's Enclave versus M&M Academy. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you after the break.